Hi everyone, we're back with our second beginner's yoga video. I'm Basanti, join me on the mat in what's called a reclined angle or suptabaddakonasana. Supta actually is like sleeping, not just reclined. So we're sleeping here, soles of the feet together. And you can, if that's uncomfortable, stretch the legs out because obviously this may not be for everyone. If you've got blocks, you could bring them underneath your knees. If you don't have anything lying around, then this could be a lot for your inner thighs and hips. So you can absolutely stretch the legs out if you prefer. Hands on the chest and stomach to just notice the breath. And that's just your basic yogic breath. That means you don't have to guide it. You just listen to it. And then slowly raise the knees and bring the feet onto the ground. And then hug the knees in towards you. So you'll feel the lower back on the ground. That's always quite nice because obviously there's that natural curve in the spine. And when we're lying like that, even when the legs are stretched out, we don't have that connection with the ground. So now you'll hopefully get a nice little stretch into the lower back. And we lie here and we breathe both into the front of the upper body and into the back, where a lot of our lung capacity lies as well. You might hug the knees in a little bit more. Just whatever is comfortable. And then slowly release your feet to the ground, knees high. And the arms are optional, so I've got them next to my head. You might find that as you drop the knees to the left side, feet quite far apart. You want to target your side body here, so the right side of the body. And you'll feel this in the hip as well. If the feet are close together, it's more of a twist. And arms next to the head means that you're stretching a little bit more deeply into your side. So completely up to you. And that left foot could rest on the right knee, but that might just make it a little bit uncomfortable. So be comfortable. That is rule number one. Don't do anything that would be uncomfortable to you. And only you can feel what's going on in the body. Raise the knees and drop them to the other side. Again, making sure that your feet are far apart and that right foot could rest on the left knee if you wanted it to, but doesn't have to. So a little bit of a stretch into the left side of the body. And just feel the breath in your left side. And head comfortable, really. You could drop the head to the left side. You could have the back of the head on the ground. And always take what someone else is doing. So in this case, it's me. no other people in shot. Always take that with a pinch of salt. You've got a different body. You feel things differently. So adjust in any way you like. Come back and stretch your left leg out. Guide your right knee over to the left side. Now we're going into that twist. And that should feel nice, should give you the feeling that you can still breathe freely. Sometimes when we're twisting too deep, or when we're in any other way too deep in a posture, we'll realize that the breath changes a little bit. And we want to just make sure that it's super comfortable. And we might feel the breath a little bit more in the right side of the body here. We slowly change sides, give yourself a little bit of time to stretch that right leg out and guide the left knee over to the right side. And it's nice to turn the head the other way, but nice is one of those things. It means a lot of different things for different people. I find it nice to have that little stretch into the neck. You might decide that your neck is quite stiff, that it's maybe nicer to just keep the back of the head on the ground. So adjust that. Just try to keep that left shoulder heavy so that you've got that counterweight so that you actually feel that twist. And then slowly roll onto the back from here and hug the knees in towards you. Again, that lovely release into the lumbar spine. It gets a bit of a stretch here. And then we move our toes gently. And we move into the ankles. So just being very aware. Yoga is all about awareness. And then move your knees out and down, in, up, out. Just drawing circles where the knees go apart. And I'm using my hands to guide these circles, but you don't have to. Toes can stay together. And then we change sides. Or not change sides, I should say change directions. In, out, up, back in. You get the idea. Cool. And then we stretch a little bit more. Fingers, toes, wrists, ankles. And stretch the legs all the way up if you can. I'm just demonstrating a little bit of a stretch. And if you've got tight hamstrings, if you spend a lot of time sitting at a desk, chances are you won't be able to straighten them all the way. That's all fine. You just go somewhere that feels good for you. and stretch it out in a way that makes sense to your body. It doesn't have to look a certain way. And then we flex and point the toes and the hands. And that obviously will make this stretch into the hamstrings a little bit deeper. Every time you're flexing, you're obviously stretching them more. Good. Back down, hands down, feet down, knees high. We'll come into some pelvic tilts. So I want you to push your hips gently up. Doesn't have to be far. And drop down. If you do Pilates and you're just used to that and not yoga, this is more of a Pilates bridge. So we don't go super high. We're not focusing on a really deep arch into the back. And work with your breath here. Be aware of the breath. You may guide it if you want to. Just breathing in as you prepare, maybe arching the back a little bit. So I'm raising the arms so you can see a little bit more. There's that arch in the back, some space underneath my back. And then you push up on an exhale. And again, you drop down, inhaling into that arch. Exhaling as you press the lower back into the ground and push the hips up. Inhaling as you drop and arch. And exhaling as you push back up. So that's that movement. And you should adjust your movement according to the breath. So if your breath is a little bit faster or it's a little bit slower, that's going to make that movement faster or slower. And if you feel like arching and holding here, that's sometimes nice as well. And then come a little bit higher this time. Just a little bit. So you'll feel your quads engaged here. You could squeeze your glutes. You could raise the arms. You can bring the hands next to you here, reaching for the heels with your fingertips. And then slowly drop again. And one more time, hug the knees in towards you. And for a deeper release, you could bring the forearms or hands underneath the knees. But in general, main rule, be comfortable, adapt in any way you want. I may have said in my last video, there is as many yogas as there are people in the world. So just make sure what you do works for you, because I can't even see you, which would be handy. And then we come up to seated and we sit on the heels. Again, that's one that's not comfortable for everyone. So do feel free to change this posture into anything else. You could cross the legs, you could stretch the legs out to the front. Just make sure that where you're sitting gives you that chance to straighten the spine so that you can really breathe. And then just gently start rolling into your shoulders, forwards up to the back and down, not with any resistance, just softness here in the shoulders. And then drop your shoulders down into the back and start moving your head from side to side. Left ear to left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder. Nice and slowly. But again, without force. And slow enough. Maybe holding a little bit on one side and then holding that stretch on the left side. And your ear doesn't have to be close to the shoulder. You don't want to find a connection. So as you're there, try not to raise your shoulders up. Keep them dropped, keep them heavy. And the hands can do whatever they want. Can be in your lap, can be dropped like mine are. And then bring your chin towards the shoulder. Slowly bring the chin down towards the collarbone. Hold there for a moment longer. And then chin to chest. Just let yourself get heavy here and maybe shrug the shoulders a little bit if that feels comfortable. And with all of these, I always say the things that I do is give pointers. They're suggestions. If they don't work for you, you can adapt or you can just leave out some things. Now other side, just dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. And again, hands on the knees, on the thighs, in your lap or drop down, whatever works best for you in that posture. Like what gives you the feeling of heaviness in the shoulders, what gives you that feeling of relaxation, because every part of the body is part of that release and that relaxation that we want in the side of the neck. And now chin towards the shoulder and just leave it there. Breathe. And when I say breathe, it's actually more of a reminder to be aware of the breath. We hardly ever need to guide the breath. Sometimes it's, if we're doing pranayama, breathing exercises, then obviously we are working with the breath. Now drop the chin to the chest, reach the arms to the front. Imagine as if there was something in front of you, like maybe you want to climb up a ladder. Well, forget about where up and down is. Grab hold of your left wrist and pull it to the right side. Hold there for a little bit. And then grab hold of your right wrist and pull it to the left side, all the while rounding the back, dropping the head. And then we slowly roll up through the spine, arms go up, we look up to the ceiling. We could even drop the head to the back. And then here we do the same thing. We pull at that left wrist and pull it over to the right. Depending on how you're sitting here, you want to make sure the hip stays heavy. Pull at your right wrist over to the left side. Keep your right hip heavy. And then come back. And we come onto all fours. And if you've been sitting on your heels for a while and you're new to this, then congratulations, it's not the easiest thing. And we start arching and rounding into the back. We're almost at the end of our 10 minutes. The full video is 20 minutes or over 20 minutes long. And you can find that on my subscription platforms. You can sign up to more classes, find the full class on there and more classes as well. Hands to the front, drop your elbows, drop your forearms and drop your head. Just forehead to the ground and let the shoulders and chest get heavy. Sometimes it's nice to bring the hands onto the shoulders. Again, nice is one of those things, different for everyone. But just let yourself feel that in the mid-back and your thoracic spine. Yeah, and that link to more, if you want to subscribe, is in my descriptions. And I'll be uploading 5 videos a month. And thank you for joining.